Hello, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the 6th episode in which Madara reveals himself as Naruto's grandfather. He injected both his own and Hashirama's cells into Naruto. As a result, Naruto gained strength, awakening the Sharingan and, later, the Rinnegan. To show your support, click the like button and subscribe. Let's get this show started. Normality could not be said for the gloomy clouds that reigned over the village hidden in leaves. The sound and sand invasion had come and gone. The Konoha had remained standing. She had stepped out of the invasion as the winner. Konoha had battled against 2 hidden villages and won. Despite the victory, it still felt like a loss to many of the broken hearts in Konoha. A victory had been ensured, but it did not come without a price. Konoha had paid a high price for her victory. A price that she thought she would have never had to pay. The death of the Sandaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the professor. The invasion of sand and sound might have been a failure to their end. However, Konoha had suffered a great loss. The Sandaime had lived through 2 great shinobi wars. He was a man of peace, loved and admired by many for his ways. He was the only Hokage to have served 2 terms and was the only man to have been Hokage for the longest period. The professor was indeed a great man in the eyes of many. Amongst his achievements were the 3 legendary shinobis, the Senins. He had been their sensei and groomed them into the powerful shinobi they became. Unfortunately, the student he loved most over his other students was the cause of his death. Orochimaru, the snake Sannin, had been the reason the Sandaime had left the world of the living. Konoha was mourning at the death of its Hokage because of Orochimaru, a traitor to the village. He was not branded a traitor because of the invasion, but because many years ago the snake Sannin had been abducting children and experimenting on them. Many mothers lost their children because of Orochimaru's actions. No one held love for the Sannin after his latest stunt. Almost everyone wished they could tear him into piece, kill him and then bring him life and repeat the process until their hearts were satisfied. Naruto sat alone at the roof of his apartment building. He had not even bothered to attend the Sandaime's funeral. His views on the old man differed from other people's views. The death of the old man did not concern him. Naruto had not attachments to the old man. Death was something that one could cheat or avoid. Madara had cheated death for many years, but in the end, he died. Regardless of the circumstances concerning his death, the fact is that he died. Despite that belief, Naruto also believed that death would never claim him before he achieved his goals. It was possible for his grandfather to postpone the due of his death to a later date. It should also be possible for him, Naruto believed. Things were moving faster than Naruto had thought they would be. Every piece was already on its position. All that was left was for someone to ignite the flames. Although not saddened by the Sandaime's death, Naruto had not been expecting the Sandaime to die at this time. Naruto had thought that the Sandaime would live for a few more years. With the Sandaime alive, it would make things easy for him to act. Despite being manipulative, the Sandaime held a soft spot for Naruto, and Naruto knew how to exploit it. Given the death of the Hokage, a new leader would have to be set. Naruto just hoped that Danzo was not chosen as Hokage, or he would be forced to have Zetsu assassinate the old war hawk. If Danzo became Hokage, his movements within the village would be restricted. Danzo would surely try to control him, not that he would succeed in doing that. No one controlled Naruto, and Naruto danced no one's drumming. Only Madara made him dance, but he was no more. With so many things happening fast, Naruto was learning that he should not be expecting things from other people to work on his favor. If he was going to get rid of his problems, he had to rely on himself. There would surely be surprises along the way, but he just had to be prepared for them. Even if he cannot not be prepared for every surprise, he would just have to deal with them. Hokage's office. Hamura and Koharu, the former teammates of the Sandaime Hokage, stood within the office. After the burial of the Sandaime, they had called Jiraiya into the office to make him an offer. Konoha needed a leader. Despite the villages not suffering major causalities, there was still some destruction that needed to be corrected. To calm people down after the invasion and the death of Hiruzen, they needed someone strong to be a leader and calm the people's nerves. Jiraiya, I am sure you already know why we have called you here, Hamura said, to which Jiraiya nodded. So will you, Jiraiya, take the mantle of Hokage? No, Jiraiya replied simply, as if it was the easiest answer to give. What do you mean by no? Koharu said, raising her voice. You have to take up this offer. You are the only one who is suitable for this job and the only Sannin who is still loyal to Konoha. Still, I cannot be Hokage. I am not cut out for it. I failed to protect Sensei, and besides, if I became Hokage, no one would be able to run my spy network, and you know how important it is. I also will not be able to do my research, which is important to me. Jiraiya reasoned why he could not be Hokage. Jiraiya, you have to think twice about what you are saying. You are the strongest in the village. We need someone like that to lead the village so that we do not appear weak to other villages with the death of Hiruzen. No, I can't be Hokage, Jiraiya said with a thoughtful look. I may be the strongest, but I'm not the only Sannin who is still loyal to Konoha, he said. The elders were silent for a moment before they finally spoke. You don't mean her, Jiraiya. Jiraiya nodded, but she has not set foot in the village for 20 years and has refused to come back each time she was asked to return. I know, but all I need is to convince her to come back to the village. Give me 2 weeks and I will return with her, Jiraiya said. Do you even know where she is? No. But I know where to look for her. Fine, we will give you 2 weeks. If you don't come back with her by then, you will be the next Hokage, Koharu said, making Jiraiya nod reluctantly. You can take some ANBU with you to look for her, the elder offered. Jiraiya shook his head. There is no need for that. Taking ANBU with me will only make her feel threatened. I have someone in mind who can accompany me. Who? Hamura asked, guessing whom Jiraiya might be thinking of taking with him. Naruto, Jiraiya responded. No. Given his show at the exams, he has answers to give to the council and he needs to be confined within the village since we still do not know if he is loyal or not. Allowing him to leave with you might just give him the opportunity to make a run for it. He will not run away. I am sure if he wanted to leave the village, he would have done it already. Wouldn't it also be better to have him answer your questions with the new Hokage in attendance? Jiraiya countered. Fine, but if he runs away, it will be in your head. Moreover, you have to remember now that it is common knowledge that he is Minato's son. IWA might try something. I am well aware of that, Jiraiya said. Well then, I will be going, Jiraiya said, and left through the window. Hamura turned to Koharu. Are you sure it's wise to allow him to take the boy with him? I am not sure it is wise or not, but I doubt he will be able to run away even if he tried. Jiraiya will be with him always, and we will send a squad of ANBU to tail them, Koharu replied, earning a nod from Hamura. Even if Naruto tried to run, he would not get away with the ANBU on his tail along with Jiraiya. Still, they hoped that he did not try anything stupid. Unknown location. Orochimaru was called a once-in-a-generation genius. He was not called a genius for nothing. He's smart and saw things in a way that no one did. Years ago, when he was still a Konoha shinobi, he was branded the genius of Konoha. Orochimaru was brilliant. He had a brilliant mind. He was always scheming, making plans. He knew things that no one knew existed. He had even invented a jutsu that would make him live for all eternity. Despite all his brilliance, Orochimaru had his faults. One fault that has often cost him greatly was his habit to underestimate his opposition. When he tried to take over Itachi's body, he had underestimated the Uchiha and was left without an arm. He had underestimated his sensei and was almost sealed within the belly of the Shinigami. Had it not been for the fact that the old man was already tired because of their battle, he would have been sealed away. He recalled the cold fear he felt when he saw the Shinigami behind his sensei. He had screamed for his sensei to let him go. His body was giving up, it was rejecting him. He needed to transfer to another body soon before his current body melted down. He could not take Sasuke's body now since the boy was not even in his possession. Orochimaru's door opened and Kabuto walked inside with a tray holding a glass of water and some tablets. It is time for you medicine, Orochimaru-sama, Kabuto said, holding out the medicine and tablets for Orochimaru to drink. The snake Sannin coughed before he drank the tablets. How are going to solve your problem, Orochimaru-sama? Kabuto asked, worried about his master's health. I will have to transfer to a new body soon. This body is rejecting me. If don't switch bodies soon, I might die. Orochimaru said in a rough voice. That aside, did you conserve the blood sample I gave you after we returned from branding Sasuke-kun? Yes, Kabuto replied with a slight nod. Good, study it, find everything you can about the blood sample, Orochimaru ordered. If I may, Orochimaru-sama, whose blood sample is it? Kabuto asked carefully. Naruto-kun, Orochimaru replied, earning a confused look from Kabuto. Don't you find it curious that Naruto has the Sharingan and not just the normal Sharingan, the Manjikyu Sharingan? Naruto's both parents were not Uchihas as far as we know. However, Naruto's use of the Sharingan makes me assume that he has Uchiha blood running through his veins. This means one of his parents had Uchiha blood. I am curious as to what more secrets Naruto is hiding. Studying his blood sample will satisfy my curiosity. Kabuto nodded. I will get onto it right away, Kabuto replied and walked away, leaving Orochimaru to his thoughts. Naruto's apartment. Naruto was laying low inside his apartment. He was planning his next move, what he would be doing next. He could not just let things stay as they were. He needed to be doing something that was of importance instead of playing ninja for Konoha. He had enemies to prepare himself for. Konoha could wait. A knock on the door snapped Naruto out of his thoughts. He could guess who it was by the chakra he was sensing off the person. Naruto opened the door and found Sasuke standing outside. Naruto quirked an eyebrow. He wondered what Sasuke wanted from him. What can I do for you? Sasuke looked down as he was struggling to say what he wanted to say. He was acting like a shy girl trying to ask a boy she likes out on a date. Naruto sighed and told the Uchiha to enter. Sasuke walked inside Naruto's apartment. He looked around and saw that the place was neat, everything was perfectly into place. It looked like a woman lived inside the place, which reminded of how clean his home used to be when his mother was still alive. Are you really an Uchiha? Sasuke asked, his tone down. I have already given you an answer to that. Sasuke gritted his teeth. Sometimes he hated how Naruto answered questions. That aside, if Naruto was Uchiha, it meant they are from the same clan and he was not alone anymore. True, he did not like Naruto a bit, but if Naruto was from his clan, it changed things. Naruto was unlike Kakashi, who has a borrowed Sharingan. Naruto was like him. Their Sharingans were not borrowed from anyone. Why didn't you ever say anything to me? Sasuke asked forcefully. Naruto could tell that Sasuke was forcing himself to ask the question. Because I did not want to, he replied simply. Sasuke was quiet for some time before he spoke again. You have the same eyes as that man. I know how you to awaken them, so who did you kill to awaken them? Naruto's eyes morphed into the Manjikyu for a second before returning to their normal blue color. Sasuke could not really tell what was going through Naruto's head. The only thing that changed in his face was his eyes only. The Naka Shrine, you are making use of it, Naruto said, completely disregarding Sasuke's question. The only way in which Sasuke knew about the secrets of the Manjikyu was if he read from the stone tablet in the Naka Shrine located within the Uchiha compound. Only Uchiha could decipher the tablet. You know about it? How? Sasuke demanded, forgetting that Naruto did not answer his question. Were you expecting me not to know of it? It is a property of Uchiha anyway. Sasuke calmed himself down. I really don't like you, Naruto, Sasuke said before he could continue. Naruto corrected him. No, you just envy of me, Sasuke glared at Naruto. Well, because it was the truth. Naruto had more power than him, power that he needed to kill Itachi. We are from the same clan and there is just the two of us in Konoha. I think we should talk. It was obvious that Sasuke used all his willpower and swallowed a chunk of his pride to say those words. He was forcing himself because regardless of his feelings they were of the same clan. As it stood, the clan was nearly extinct because of the massacre several years ago. All in due time, Sasuke, Naruto said. Now I must tell you to leave, Naruto said in a tone that left no room for saying otherwise. Naruto had sensed someone inside his apartment. Sasuke got up and left, leaving Naruto alone. "You broke through my barrier," Naruto said seemingly to no one. "Well, that is to be expected from a seal master." Jiraiya appeared out of nowhere with a sheepish grin spreading across his face. "You are lucky that I was inside the apartment. Had I not been here, this apartment would have self-destructed," Naruto added, making Jiraiya wince at the thought of an explosion setting off while he was inside the apartment. The way Naruto said it, there was no reason to think it was just a bluff. Is there a need to set up something like that? What could you have hidden in here that you don't people to see? Jiraiya asked, figuring that Naruto would not go that far unless he had something inside his apartment that he did not want people to see. Hiding something? Might be so, Naruto responded. What do you want? Can I just come here and see how you are doing? You can, I just do not want you to. Now get to the point. Jiraiya walked towards Naruto and sat beside the blonde. You have the Sharingan, can activate it, deactivate, and seem to be able to use all its abilities. Only Uchiha can do that, so tell me, Naruto, how is it possible I knew everything about your parents? Your father was like a son-to-be. If one of them had Uchiha blood in them, I would have known about it. Jiraiya spoke, his expression changing to deadly serious. Huh? Jiraiya, you are a spy master, you deal with information gathering. I cannot just tell you how it is possible. Use your spy network and gather intel on me. When you get something valuable, come back to me, Naruto said to Jiraiya. Jiraiya was a spy master. A challenge like this one ought to prove interesting to the Sannin. However, Naruto knew that Jiraiya would not find anything about him. So you are not going to talk. However, it is only a matter of time before the council drags you to the council chambers and force you to tell them everything. If you refuse, they might even have someone enter your mind to find the answers they need, Jiraiya said with a smirk. Personally, he would be against the idea of having someone enter Naruto's mind, but if Naruto were refusing to cooperate, that would be the only choice left for the council to make. Nobody could refuse the council, well, except for him, but only because he was a Sannin and the strongest shinobi in the village. Naruto was just a genin, and things would not work on his favor given that certain members of the council did not love him. Make me? I would like to see them try. If that is all you came here for, Jiraiya, you can leave. Jiraiya sighed. He would have to start searching things about the blonde, but first he had to start with the parents. Naruto was not going to give out his secrets that easily. That aside, he had other business to attend with the blonde. No, that is not all. I came here with you for a mission which you will do with me, he said, grinning at the blonde. I'm not interested in doing a mission with you, Naruto rebuffed. You are going on the mission whether you like it or not, Jiraiya said firmly. We have to find my former teammate and convince her to return to the village as Godame Hokage. Like I said, Jiraiya, I refuse to accept the mission. If you force me to go outside the village, I won't return. Jiraiya stared intensively at Naruto. If it was someone else, receiving Jiraiya's piercing gaze, he would have cowered down in fear and given to Jiraiya's demands. Naruto was not anyone. He was trained to be able to keep calm regardless of the situation he was in. You are not doing me a favor by coming with me, but you will be rendering a service to Konoha by coming to search for the new Hokage, and yet you refuse. Jiraiya said, shaking his head. Your father would be disappointed in you. If Jiraiya was expecting a reaction from Naruto, he got none. Even if Minato were still alive, Naruto would not care what he thought of him. The man's opinion of him meant nothing to him. Jiraiya, you and I know very well that your request that I go with you to this mission has nothing to do with a service to Konoha. You only requested that I go with you because you want to get close to me. You want to take the time to convert me into your apprentice. You know very well that I would not serve any purpose in convincing the Senju to be Hokage. He paused for a moment. That being said, there is no reason for me to go on the mission with you. Jiraiya could not deny that his reasons for wanting Naruto to go with him were 100% not related to convincing Tsunade to come back and take the mantle of being Hokage. He just wanted to be close to Naruto. The mission would give him a better chance to being close to Naruto. Please, Naruto, let's go together. I know I screwed up, but I'm trying to make up for my mistakes here. Can't you give me a chance to make up for that?" Jiraiya said, his voice taking a pleading tone. Naruto shook his head. "I told you, I don't hate you for abandoning me. Therefore, there is nothing for you to settle. I can talk to you with no qualms, but I don't need any emotional attachments with you or anyone," Naruto said truthfully. Jiraiya was quiet for a moment. Naruto truly seemed not to hate him, but it did not make him feel any better. Nevertheless, there was a positive in all this. Naruto was willing to talk to him. Other than talking to him and not being able to do that, he would choose to have the privilege of being able to talk with the blonde, even if they could not form a bond. Finally accepting the situation, he nodded and smiled at Naruto. "I guess I will see you when I return with the new Hokage," Jiraiya said and left. Later that night, Naruto thought of something he had been relenting to do. He closed his eyes and focused. When he opened his eyes, he was in a large old sewer. The sewer echoed with drips of water. Other than the drips, it was peacefully quiet. However, there was something sinister at the end of the sewer. Naruto sensed the sinister aura and walked slowly towards it. His watery footsteps ringed around the sewer, replacing the drips. Naruto stopped in front of a large gate with a piece of paper that had a kanji for seal. Two large blood-red eyes opened up and looked at him. The fearsome Kyuubi revealed itself from the shadows of its cage. It was resting its head on his paws. It was obvious that the beast had been napping. "So my jailer has finally decided to grace me with his presence," the Kyuubi said with an amused tone. "Have you come to tell me that my prison sentence has been cut short?" Naruto knew the nine-tailed demon fox was being sarcastic. Is this what the great Kyuubi has been reduced to? A mere sarcastic bijou robbed of your freedom, you shoulder hatred while calculating and binding for its time to escape from a prison created for you by a mere human. How pitiful! The Kyuubi glared at Naruto intensively with barely contained anger. "Watch your mouth, human. I may not be able to do anything behind this bars, but this cage cannot hold me forever. You will do well to remember whom you are speaking to." So easily provoked and angered, Naruto murmured, but the Kyuubi heard him. "I know that the seal cannot hold you forever. If you were complete, I am sure you would have already broken out. However, right now you are incomplete, no longer as strong as you were when you attacked Konoha. Nevertheless, you are still the strongest of the nine despite being incomplete." The Kyuubi knew what Naruto meant by incomplete. Before he was sealed into Naruto, Minato split his chakra into two, sealing the yin half within himself and the yang half within Naruto. That was what Naruto meant by incomplete, his other half was missing. Seeing the Kyuubi silent, Naruto spoke again, saying what he had come to say to the Kyuubi. "I know you hate humans for their treatment towards your kind. You must hate me knowing that I am the grandchild of the man who called you a mindless beast that needed to be guided by his blessed eyes." Naruto paused for a moment. "I have read everything about the six paths and your history to know full well that you are not a mindless beast that needs to be guided. As for your imperfection, I plan to fix that. In addition, for your prison sentence, you will have your freedom soon," Naruto said and disappeared from the sewer. The Kyuubi did not believe a word Naruto said. For years, bijous were as nothing but weapons for their use. Humans could not be trusted, they had proved that many times. Even now, all the bijous were sealed into a human to be the secret weapons. He could remember well when Hashirama told him that he was just too powerful, let loose, and left to roam around the world. The Kyuubi never went to attack humans for no reason. He only attacked when they came after him so that they could capture him and make him their weapon. He always stayed away from humans, but still he was seen as a danger just because he had greater power than theirs. Outside of Konoha, two figures were walking at the direction opposite to Konohagakure. Both wore black cloaks with red clouds and straw hats that hid their faces. The taller one had a large sword strapped behind his back. The sword was covered in bandages. The two men had successfully entered the walls of Konoha and infiltrated the village. They were looking for Uzumaki Naruto, or rather what was inside of him. Instead of finding the boy, they had found some interesting info about the blonde that was spreading around the village like a wildfire. The Uzumaki Naruto they were looking for was not as the same as they had found. The Naruto they had found was being called by many names. Some called him Namikaze, some called him Uzumaki Namikaze-sama, a few called him Uchiha. The Uchiha part was unbelievable. None of the men had expected to find the name of the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki associated with the Uchiha. Furthermore, the rumors they had about Naruto possessing the Sharingan troubled them. The news of Naruto wielding the Sharingan troubled them. They also heard about Naruto's fights at the Chunin exam finals. They both knew the abilities that Naruto was said to have displayed were abilities of the Manjikyu Sharingan. The shorter one wanted to prove everything for himself. It was unbelievable that Naruto was part of his clan. He had never heard anyone saying anything about it, and Naruto had no characteristics of an Uchiha. No one could have guessed that he would be part of his clan. At the moment he did not believe it. To believe it he had to see it for himself. "Kisame," said the short one, identifying the taller one with a large sword strapped on his back, "you go ahead to the meeting point. I want to go back to Konoha and confirm something." Kisame was given no time to say something as his partner disappeared in a murder of crows, leaving him alone. Kisame just continued walking away from Konoha with an annoyed look on his face. He hated it when Itachi did something like that. Naruto sighed as walked towards the Uchiha compound. Soon he would have to move into the compound and live there. The compound would also provide some security for him. The problem was Sasuke. The Uchiha's attitude annoyed him to no end. He would just have to deal with it, or he would never be able to live freely inside of the compound. He had never visited compound before. Now was the time for him to visit the compound. Naruto trolled through the compound looking at everything. The compound was still intact. There were no houses that were destroyed. The only wrong with it was that the once lovely place was now like a ghost town. Before the massacre, one would find young Uchihas running around the compound with wide smiles raining over their faces. The place was once lively with clan members walking around with their Uchiha pride held high, was nothing more than a memory of what it used to be. Despite the fact that the Uchiha clan had lost most of its trust from the village and villagers tended to avoid the Uchiha clan members, happiness reigned over the compound. Satisfied with the condition of the compound, Naruto decided to make one more stop before leaving the compound. He was able to make the stop because there was no one following his movements. It was because of the recent invasion. Some ANBUs were working hard to ensure that the village was still in top position. Others were patrolling to ensure that no spies from other villages entered the village. This meant to contain what was happening inside of the walls of the village. The strongest of the shinobi were obviously out of the village doing high-rank missions to prove that Konoha could still handle high-rank missions despite the recent invasion. What Konoha was doing now was displaying its power. Naka Shrine. Naruto entered the shrine with the use of his Sharingan and the Naka Shrine Pass technique. Only an Uchiha could enter into the shrine. It was protected because it held valuable clan secrets. Naruto was positive that even though Kakashi had an implanted Sharingan, he could not enter the shrine. Uchiha used the shrine as their secret meeting place. Naruto activated his Manjikyu Sharingan. He looked at tablet looking at read it. Everything he was able to read he already knew. Madara had copies of tablets at the hideout. The things he could not decipher needed the Rinnegan to be deciphered. The Manjikyu could not decipher everything about the Bijus and the Sage of Six Paths. Naruto sighed. Despite not having the Rinnegan, he already knew everything since Madara had already deciphered everything. The place was useful to hiding things. Naruto wanted to see it for himself. It was truly a safe place to say anything. Naruto felt someone and narrowed his left eye behind him. The man in a black cloak with red clouds appeared inside the shrine. Naruto, a glimpse of the man's eyes. "Uchiha Itachi," Naruto said, turning towards the older Uchiha. Itachi now had no doubt. Naruto was an Uchiha. To be able to enter the shrine proved that. Not even Orochimaru, who could make his way through any barrier and was slippery as a snake, could enter the shrine. In addition, the Manjikyu he was seeing on Naruto's left eye proved that the villagers were not exaggerating. "So it is true," Itachi said, walking close to Naruto. He took off his straw hat and his face became clear. Itachi's own Manjikyu Sharingan was activated. You are from my clan. How that came to be raises a lot of questions. People always question what they cannot understand or what they refuse to believe. Is it not better to question things and accept them as they are? Naruto said. Naruto figured that Itachi would want to know how he was an Uchiha. He did not tell him the same answer as Jiraiya because Itachi was someone who Naruto had some kind of respect. That respect was because the Uchiha had massacred the whole Uchiha clan. He was the strongest Uchiha aside from Tobi. It was not that Naruto did not respect Jiraiya for his strength. Jiraiya was told what he was told because he was meddling into things that did not concern him. Telling him to search for information was just sending him on a wild goose chase since he will not find anything. Itachi, Naruto was telling to accept that he was an Uchiha and not try to reason things. Itachi nodded. I had come to see if what I had heard was true, Itachi said. Your presence, does it mean that Akatsuki has begun its hunt for bijous? Naruto asked blankly. If Itachi was shocked that Naruto knew of the organization he worked for, he did not show it. No, not yet. We were just collecting information on Jinchurikis, Itachi replied. How did you know? Did Jiraiya tell you? No, Jiraiya has not told me about the organization. Given how secretive the Akatsuki is, I doubt he knows anything useful, Naruto replied. How do you know then? I did not think that you were the ones to be asking these questions, Itachi. I expected someone like your partner to ask such questions. Naruto revealed something. That Itachi had a partner. He never told Naruto he had a partner. By the way Naruto spoke, it sounded like he knew how his partner acted. How much do you know? Anyone with half brains would be truly curious. Well, I know everything about the Akatsuki, and that there are 4 Uchihas alive, Naruto said, getting a reaction from Itachi. Itachi's eyes widened slightly. Not anyone would have noticed, but Naruto noticed. Itachi knew who the 4th Uchiha was, and before I forget, I must thank you for the service you did to the Uchiha clan. Had you not massacred them, the Uchiha name would have been surely degraded and shamed. His words got another reaction from Itachi. It was unbelievable to say that Naruto was talking to him. The last time he saw the blonde, he was roaming around the village wearing an orange jumpsuit causing havoc. You have surely grown and matured since I saw you, Naruto-kun, Itachi said, with a small smile that quickly disappeared. Do you intend to tell Sasuke the truth behind the Uchiha massacre? If I did that, then I would have to kill him, Naruto said. Itachi understood that in Sasuke's current condition, if he was told the truth, he would try to destroy the Leaf Village, which was why Naruto said he would have to kill him if he told him the truth. Sasuke was unstable at his condition. It made him capable of anything. He was really a disappointment. Nevertheless, he was still his brother, and he still loved him. Next time we see each, it will be in a battle. I hope by that time you will have grown stronger than you are now, Itachi said, walking away. Leaving Kisame alone for a long time was not a smart thing to do. With Itachi gone, Naruto was left alone with his thoughts. The Akatsuki were making their move. Despite not actively starting to capture Jinchuriki, they were making a move. Naruto had not expected such a thing. He had to become strong, and the only way for him to that was to train. However, he could not train to his fullest ability within the walls of Konoha. The hideout had always provided him the perfect environment to train to his heart's extent. Training at the hideout was also good since he would have no one interrupting his training schedule. At the hideout, he only had Zetsu, who would never interrupt him while he trained. He had to leave Konoha for a couple of years to get the training he needs to become strong. Yes, when Jiraiya comes back, he would have to leave the village. Whether they liked it or not, he would leave to get his training done. 2 weeks later, Konoha was once again happy. The lost grandchild of the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, had returned. Not only had she returned, but she had returned as the Godame Hokage. The villagers were overjoyed by the news. Now they had 2 of their senins back at the village. Senju Tsunade had returned to the village with her apprentice Shizune. The woman gladly accepted the mantle of Hokage. However, a rumor was spreading out that Jiraiya had to pay all her debts, which were a lot, promised to stop hitting on her, and promised to supply her with sake from Mount Mayuboku once in a month. The sake from the hidden village of the Toads was said to be a sake of highest quality. No sake from the elemental nations could rival its taste. That was just a rumor. Nobody knew how Jiraiya convinced the woman to return after she had left the village for 20 years. It had been 3 days already since Senju Tsunade was officially installed as Godame Hokage. Naruto had never seen the woman or Jiraiya before him. It did not concern him, though. He had already prepared for his departure. It was only a matter of time. The following day, Naruto was summoned to the Hokage's office. He was not the only to have been summoned by the Godame. Shikamaru also summoned. Jiraiya and the Hokage's assistant Shizum were also present within the office. "You were also summoned too," Shikamaru said in a bored tone, looking at Naruto. "This is troublesome." Naruto gave Shikamaru a rare slight smile that was only alive for a second. Jiraiya noticed it, so did Tsunade and Shikamaru. "Everything else is troublesome to you, Shikamaru." Jiraiya noted to talk to Shikamaru privately. Naruto was willing to go as far as to smile at Shikamaru. There had to be something between the two that Jiraiya did not know. Ever since he returned to Konoha, he had never seen Naruto smile before, but in the presence of Shikamaru he smiled. Even though the smile was small, it was a smile nevertheless. The Godame cleared her throat to get everyone's attention. She looked at Naruto. "So this is the son of Minato Jiraiya told me about. He looks exactly like his father, well, except for his eyes." Tsunade thought, looking at Naruto. Naruto's eyes, the Sharingan, staring at his left eye that was devoid of any emotion, made her feel uncomfortable. Tsunade sighed and spoke. "You must be wondering why I called you two here," Tsunade said. "You two participated in the Chunin exam finals. The judges at the exams made a decision to promote you to Chunin," Tsunade announced. None of the two smiled or seemed to be excited about the news. Tsunade threw them both Chunin flanks. "Shikamaru, you can leave." Naruto, stay behind. Shikamaru nodded and left with his Chunin flank jacket at hand. We should go now," Jiraiya said to Tsunade. Knowing Tsunade, she probably had already forgotten about the council meeting. Tsunade nodded. "Naruto, follow us to the council chambers." Tsunade spoke in a voice that made her suitable to be Hokage. Naruto followed her and Jiraiya without saying anything. Council chambers. The chamber was packed with council members. Clan heads formed the Shinobi Council, civilian council formed by 2 civilians from the business industry to ordinary civilians. In attendance were the elders of the village who served as advisors to the Hokage only. They also had more power than any other member did in the council room. Tsunade sat at the seat of the Hokage and Jiraiya stood behind her. Tsunade looked at Naruto, who was standing calmly in front of the table. "Take a sit, Naruto," Tsunade said, showing Naruto an empty chair. Naruto walked towards the chair and sat down. All eyes within the room turned to him. Naruto looked at each council member with his lone visible Sharingan eye. The most influential clan was the Hyuga clan, as it was now the most powerful clan within Konoha. The clan owned more land within Konoha than any other clan did. It also held a lot of bragging rights when it came to village politics. Hyuga Hayashi headed the clan. The other clan that held more power than other clans had to be the Nara clan. Their head clan was the Jounin commander and acted like the brains of Konoha. Every strategy that the village formed was formulated by him, or had to pass through his eyes first for his approval. The other clans held equal power. One could not put them ahead of one another. They all served Konoha and provided Konoha service based on what their clan specialized. "We can begin this meeting," Tsunade said, calling the meeting to begin. "Are you really part of the Uchiha clan?" Tsum Inazuka, head of the Inazuka clan, asked. "Yes," Naruto replied calmly. "How?" Shimura Danzo asked. The old Warhawk was one of the elders. He was truly curious as to how Naruto was an Uchiha. He knew both the boy's parents and none of them were Uchiha. So how was the boy part of the Uchiha clan? I cannot answer that question, Naruto replied simply. Listen, boy, you will give us all the answers we need. We are the council of this village, and we order you to tell us everything we want to know, Elder Komura said firmly. Naruto was not fazed by her firm voice. As I said, I cannot answer the last question. Why do you refuse to answer that simple question, boy? What are you hiding? Danzo asked, his face showing no emotion whatsoever. Simply, because I do not want to tell you. You might be the council of the village. However, you are not my council, Naruto said. I, being a shinobi of this village, serve this village as best as I can. I will answer questions regarding missions and things that might trouble village security, but you cannot answer your questions about my family when I tell you how I am part of the Uchiha clan. I will be telling you about my family's secrets, a family that you hid from me when you decided to throw me at the orphanage. Jiraiya might not be pleased. Because Naruto was not giving answers, but he was happy with how Naruto was dealing with the council. It was the truth. They could not legally force him to answer them questions about his family. Reminding them that they hid his parentage was a wise to say given the situation. Tsunade had the same thoughts as Jiraiya. The clan heads had to agree with Naruto. Naruto was not at liberty to discuss about his family. You dare refuse an order from the council, boy? Order of the council? Well, this is your answer. I don't know how. I expect you to have the answers since you have known about my parents ever since I was born. You know of them ever since they were still children. Shouldn't you be the one to give me the answers? That was one way to avoid answering the question without sounding as if he was refusing an order from the council. Shikaku smiled. That was quick thinking from Naruto. He knew it was a lie, as Naruto said before. He did not want to answer the question. Nevertheless, Naruto could easily say he said that because he was embarrassed about not knowing anything about his parents. He could say that he just found out one day after a life-threatening situation that his Sharingan had awakened. Why did you keep your Sharingan a secret? I was afraid that I would be killed like the rest of the Uchiha clan members if I came out, Naruto replied with another lie. It was interesting to see the dumb and fuming faces of the council members. The lies provided him entertainment so he could get through the meeting. Chibi Shikaku was rolling around in laughter. That was a textbook answer. It was another lie, but it was also a believable reason. If anyone found out that he or she was an Uchiha after the whole clan was massacred with only one survivor, he or she would surely hide the fact that he was an Uchiha in fear of being killed. If someone had given that reason, it would have been believable. Naruto, you know that's not the reason you hid the Sharingan, and you know who between your parents gave you Uchiha blood, Jiraiya said, looking for answers. Jiraiya, this council decided to hide my parentage from me. They threw me with the other orphans and watched me, as the villagers hated me, ignored me, treated me like a demon, like an outcast. You should be grateful that I am still here in this village, instead of forcing answers from me, Naruto stated, his tone devoid of any emotion. What do you mean, we should be grateful? Danzo asked with narrowed eyes. Exactly what I said. After how this village has treated me, you should be grateful that I am still loyal. I could have simply let the Kyuubi out and let it finish what it had started. However, I did not. I held on and was never tempted to do such a thing. Here I am being questioned like a criminal simply because I chose to keep a few things to myself, Naruto said as his Sharingan morphed into its Manjikyu Sharingan state. The Manjikyu glowed. Reddish blood as if it was daring anyone to say otherwise. Danzo narrowed his eyes at Naruto. The Kyuubi was untamed. Had Hiruzen given him the Kyuubi, he would have trained it to become a weapon to Konoha and loyal to him. Because of Hiruzen's foolish beliefs, the Kyuubi was making fools out of them. It was unforgivable. I think it is safe to say that what Naruto is saying is that if he wanted to betray Konoha or plot something against it, he would have done it already given his hushed childhood, which everyone was aware of but did nothing about it. Personally, I would not wish for what my own child to go through what Naruto went through as a child because of his burden. Shikaku spoke for the first time. Naruto is saying he has no plans to betray the village and will continue to serve it, even though we allowed the villagers to do what they pleased with him. So there is no reason to be suspicious of him, and the questions being asked are unnecessary, Shikaku concluded, earning nods from other head clans and the Hokage. I want answers from Naruto, but I have to agree with Shikaku, Jiraiya said, making it known that he was not happy with the lack of answers from Naruto but agreed with what Shikaku was saying. I also believe that Naruto is not planning anything against the village. The elders did not like where things were now. With the majority favoring Shikaku's conclusions, Naruto would walk away without having to answer to their questions. It not matter though, there was still another time. They would get him another time, and he would answer everything. One little mistake and he would regret making fools of them. Fine, but next time he comes here we will not tolerate such act of disrespect. It will be seen as treason, Koharu said. The civilian council even now never said a word. It was as if someone had threatened or paid them to be quiet during the whole meeting. Naruto did not care either way. Well, I guess Naruto can be excused now, so we can discuss other subjects of importance, Tsunade said, stressing the word importance. Naruto left the chamber, leaving the council members to discuss matters about the village stability, security, and economy. The following day Naruto was again called to the Hokage's office. He had been planning to visit the office to let the Hokage know of his plans. It would not be good if he disappeared without telling the Hokage. Tsunade was sitting behind her desk. A bottle of sake and a large stack of papers decorated the table. The woman to have been having a bad day. Jiraiya was sitting on the window with a rather calm look on his face. Tsunade looked at Naruto. He was not wearing the Chunin flank jacket she had given him yesterday. Just like yesterday, his Sharingan was active. She really needed to ask Jiraiya why it was always active. I called you here because Jiraiya has something important to tell you, Tsunade said, leaning back to her chair. Naruto looked at Jiraiya, waiting for the Sannin to say whatever that was important. My spy network has discovered an organization called the Akatsuki. I don't know much about the organization. What I do know is that they used to work as mercenaries, but they had changed their objectives, Jiraiya said. Currently their objective is to hunt down Jinchurikis for their bijus. For what purpose I do not know. I only know 2 of the organization's members, and both are S-rank criminals. Uchiha Itachi, I'm sure. Jiraiya trailed off, seeing Naruto raise his hand. What? I have heard enough, Naruto said. I'm aware of the organization, he revealed. How do you know of it? It took me years just to find out what I told you, Jiraiya queried. I have my ways, Jiraiya. It should not be surprising that I'm aware of the organization, given that I am what they are after. No, rather the QB is what they are after. Jiraiya was trying not to be surprised by this. Naruto always seemed to surprise him each time he spoke. Nevertheless, the fact that Naruto knew made it easy for him to let Naruto know just how dangerous the organization was and that his life was in danger. You must know that the organization is a threat. At your current level, you cannot handle S-rank criminals on your own. If they were to attack you now, they would capture you, Jiraiya said. I have decided to take you on a 3-year training trip to prepare you so that you might be able to protect yourself, Jiraiya said with a grin. I cannot go with you, Jiraiya, Naruto said. Before he could continue, Tsunade spoke. Jiraiya assumed you would say something like that. Which is why, she said, holding a paper. This paper outlines that you were given permission to leave the village for 3 years on a training trip with Jiraiya. Everything is signed and approved, Tsunade said with a smile, knowing that there was no way now that Naruto could refuse. I was trying to say that I cannot go with Jiraiya because I have already left the village. Now, according to that document, on a training trip for 3 years. I might have left with Jiraiya. It is because I do not need him for my training. Tsunade and Jiraiya stared at Naruto with wide-eyed. What do you mean, you already left the village? Tsunade asked. I am a clone. I have already been planning to leave the village to train. Should I have asked permission, you would have denied me, if Jiraiya had not suggested it. If it was Jiraiya's suggestion, I would have to go with him, which I did not want. You do now that if it went for this document, you would have risked being branded a missing nin, Tsunade said. I am aware of that, But to train to my heart's extent I had to leave alone, Naruto said. Well, I'm out of chakra, Naruto said and disappeared in a puff of smoke. I'm going to look for him, Jiraiya said and disappeared from the window. He did not give Tsunade time to say anything. He was a little sad that Naruto had left the village without him. Not that only, should the Akatsuki find him before he does they could capture him. Minato would never forgive him if something happened to Naruto. Later that day Tsunade sat in her office uncomfortably. The work was just too much for her to handle. The paperwork she had to sign and the orders she had to give were putting a toll on her. She was beginning to wonder why she had even accepted the mantle of Hokage in the first place. She cursed Jiraiya for making her come back to the village. If she had not come back now she would have been somewhere gambling, losing money. Even though she never won, it was fun for her. That time she could drink all the sake she wanted day and night. Now she had to focus on her work as the Godame Hokage. It was too much work overload for her. After taking as Godame Hokage, she had to deal with stabilizing the village because of the recent invasion. A month had yet to pass since the invasion occurred. The news and events were still fresh within people's minds. Konoha had also lost a Hokage because of the invasion, the Sandaime Hokage. It was up to her to deal with the issues. The Sandaime had been a big part of Konoha's history and position within the elemental nations. Aside from the Sandaime's death, there were no other major losses that the village suffered. A few shinobis had lost their lives, but it did not damage the village's military force. The strongest shinobi within the village were still alive and in good condition. With her introduction as Hokage, it would also influence people to be brave knowing that another strong person was leading them. Villagers could easily panic because of the recent invasion that had occurred and the mastermind behind the invasion was still alive. Their panic would be because they feared that another invasion might hit them again. Tsunade as Godame Hokage had to ensure that the villagers did not have those kinds of thoughts. The village did not lose much from the invasion, only a few buildings were destroyed. Tsunade had to make sure that the buildings were rebuilt with the funds she had at her disposal. The hospital, despite being in good condition, was not at the standard she liked it to be. For it to be where she wants it to be, she had to train kunoichis who aspire to be medics. The village's economy was in a good shape. She could not complain with anything after reading the reports. The fire daimyo had been a big help for the village to recover from the invasion. He had given the village his full support and did not cut down the money he gives to the village. In fact, he increased the budget so that the village could recover quickly and asset itself as the strongest of the 5 great shinobi villages. Konoha had gone through many conflicts with other villages, but it has always stayed at the top. The economy had never faltered. Maybe it was because the village always had someone or few shinobis who were known throughout the elemental nations. Tsunade sighed as she rubbed her temple. Overseeing things within the village was a lot harder, especially because of the recent invasion. Had it not been for the invasion, she would have not been having so much to do. She cursed Orochimaru for invading Konoha. It was his fault that she was not having time to have some sake. She had to keep working, go to meetings discussing on how things were going to be run, the changes that had to occur. It was all tiring for her. At least he had Shizune to help her with some of the work she has to do. She had a problem with the council. It has not been a week since she took charge of the village and they were already making decisions for her and telling her what to do. The elders troubled her. Tsunade had come to hate them because they liked being in control of everything. She wondered how her sensei was able to stand them and not think of a way to kill them. She had already thought of a few scenarios where the elders accidentally lose their lives. They were power-hungry and wanted to rule the village even though they had selected her as Hokage. At least some aspects of the village were not giving her headaches. The shinobi that made the village's military were all in working condition. Konoha could stand another invasion should anyone consider invading them. Her presence along with Jiraiya put things at Konoha's advantage. Sunagekure, the village had sent messengers to resolve the issues between the two villages. Sunagekure had taken part in the invasion that saw the death of the Sandaime Hokage. That only gave grounds to Konoha to attack the village without any other village saying anything to it. What complicated the issue was that Tsunagakure and Konoha were allies when Tsunagakure took part in the invasion. By being against Konoha, the village betrayed Konoha, the alliance they had made. Their reasons did not matter as long as they did go against Konoha in the invasion. To attack a village you are allied to is a major offense that the village had to pay heavily for it. At its current strength, Suna could to compete with Konoha. Konoha was the strongest of the 5 great villages and Suna was the weakest. Suna had also lost almost 50% of their military force because of the invasion. Most of their shinobis had died during the invasion, which meant that the village would be eradicated should Konoha decide to invade it. Danzu had been pushing for the invasion, but she successfully denied the motion. She did not want another war to start. Tsunade was aware that Suna knew that should they fight Konoha, they would be eradicated. Konoha still had its military force operating almost at full power. Given the hard truth, Suna will do anything to make that a new alliance with Konoha is formed. They will do so to save their own skins. It would be hard to form the alliance, since the trust between the two villages had been lost. Tsunagakure had betrayed them, and there was no telling if they would betray them again. They did once, it was possible that they could do it again. Tsunade was not someone to take advantage of the situation and force things out of Suna. She wanted to settle things with Tsunagakure so that the villages can move on and continue to work together as allies. With the treaty between the villages to be discussed next week, Konoha had to take to account that Tsunagakure was manipulated by Orochimaru. Orochimaru had killed the Yanden Kazekage and impersonated as him for a long time. He made the village believe that they were following the orders of their Kazekage just so he could have the village's military force in his control. The fact that Orochimaru had manipulated Tsunagakure made it an easy choice for Tsunade to decide against invading the village. However, even though they were being manipulated, the fact remains, they betrayed Konoha. For their betrayal, they would have to compensate for the damage done to the village. Another issue, which she had to deal with, was Uzumaki Naruto, or rather Uchiha Namikaze. However, she doubted that the boy would use Namikaze. Jiraiya had told her that he did not see or acknowledge Minato as his father. With all she has read about the boy on his reports, he is described as a distant person. With what she had seen from him ever since she first talked to him, she had to agree with the report. Another issue that was giving her a headache was that Naruto had left the village. Jiraiya had assured her that he was not defecting. From the reports, he is very secretive, which was why he even decided to leave the village alone. Nevertheless, it troubled her knowing that the Akatsuki was also out there and could capture him should they get to him before Jiraiya. He was not strong enough to handle S-rank criminals. Jiraiya would have offered better security since he can take on S-rank criminals. Her worries were eased by the fact that he did say that he was gone. She just did not found that he had disappeared from the village. She was upset because of his disregard of doing things properly. A shinobi of the village did not just leave a village without permission. If a shinobi did that, he risked to be hunted down by hunter nines since they would be forced to list him as a missing nin. By the looks of things, after listening to his clone, she deducted that even if she had refused to allow him to leave, he would have left. If it were not for the fact that she had a document that said he was on a training trip, she would have been forced to punish him for his insubordination. Thinking of it, he never did refer her as Hokage, or by her name. The fact that he had decided to leave without permission from her made her want to discipline him when Jiraiya does find him. He had to know that he could not do what he pleased and that she was the Godame Hokage and her word was law. If she said no, it was no doing otherwise would be treason. She had to deal with him. She could not have subordinates who did not respect her word and authority. Tsunade also had to deal with the issue of Sasuke Uchiha. From what she had read from his profile, he was also distant as the other Uchiha, but Sasuke had other things that distinguished him. He was a cold, arrogant, and a spoiled brat. The boy was obsessed with power and killing his traitorous brother. He did not care about anything other than his revenge. Sasuke was why she was waiting for Hatake Kakashi. She had been waiting for the famed Sharingan no Kakashi for 2 hours. Jiraiya told her about his tardiness and laid-back attitude, but she did not think it was this bad. It annoyed her having to be kept waiting by her subordinate. Kakashi walked inside the office. His right eye was firmly of his familiar orange book as he flipped a page. "You wanted to see Hokage-sama," Kakashi said without even taking his eye off his book to look at the Godame when he spoke. A tick mark appeared on Tsunade's forehead. Kakashi had the nerve to keep her waiting and then not offer her an explanation. To make matters worse, he was not even looking at her when he spoke. His eyes were on the orange book that Jiraiya writes. "Kakashi, put that book away and look at me, or I will break every bone in your body and heal you just so I can beat you up again," Tsunade said, dangerously clenching her fists. Kakashi gulped and put away his book. Tsunade could make her threat a reality. She had a hot temper, and one of her chakra-enhanced punches was capable of putting anyone out of commission. If she did beat him to an inch of his life, she could save him, given that she was the best medic in all the elemental nations. There is nothing that she has been unable to heal. "Good," Tsunade said, leaning back to her chair. "I called you here about your student Uchiha Sasuke," Tsunade said, getting straight to the point. She would deal with the man's tardiness some other day. Now she had important matters to discuss with the Jounin. "Did he do something?" Kakashi asked immediately, fearing that his revenge-driven student might have done something stupid. Tsunade shook her head. "No," she replied, making Kakashi sigh in relief. "You are aware that Orochimaru has already marked Sasuke and that he wants him to be his next vessel. The council fears that if Orochimaru comes back and promises Sasuke more power than he already has given Sasuke, will defect and follow Orochimaru," Tsunade said. Kakashi nodded. "I have seen it in his eyes. He would not even think twice should Orochimaru try to get him," he said sadly. "Yes, that is what the council fears. They have decided to give Sasuke what he wants the most, power. Giving him power will make sure that he does not defect. The council does not want to lose their precious Sharingan, seeing how the Uchiha clan has become nearly extinct," Tsunade said, saying the last part bitterly. "How is he going to be given power? You are going to take him on a 3-year training trip. You will train him as hard as you can," Tsunade replied. Kakashi was quiet for a moment. He was not surprised that the council was going this far to make sure that Sasuke stayed in the village. They had done it before, when they ordered him to train Sasuke for a month before the Chunin exams finals. He was also the only one suitable to train Sasuke, since he was also a Sharingan user like Sasuke. "Okay," Kakashi said with a small smile. Going away from the village would give him a chance to read his book without interruptions, and he would not have got challenging him. "But what about my other students? I cannot just leave them behind," Kakashi raised a concern. He would be a bad sensei if he were to leave his other students without making sure that they were taken good of. "Do not worry about them. According to Sakura's profile, she almost has perfect chakra control. I want to take her to train under medical ninjutsu. What needs work is her fangirl attitude," Tsunade said. "Well, that is one of his students taken care of. What about Naruto?" Tsunade went through hand seals, activating a privacy seal so that no one did not overhear what she was about to tell Kakashi. "What I am about to tell you is known to me and Jiraiya only," Tsunade said. "Naruto left the village," Tsunade revealed seriously. Kakashi widened his eye. He could not believe what the Hokage had just said. "He defected?" Kakashi said in disbelief. Tsunade shook her head, making Kakashi let loose of a sigh of relief. "He went away to train. The brat left without even asking me first. When we found out that he had left, we were telling him, which turned out to be his clone, that Jiraiya was going to take him on a training trip so that he could protect himself against the Akatsuki. It appeared that he already knew about the criminal organization." Kakashi nodded. "Even if he went to train, was not it better to have left with Jiraiya-sama, who could offer him better security?" "I did point that out. Nevertheless, the reason he left without permission was that he knew he would not be allowed to leave alone, and he said that he did not need Jiraiya. So he left alone, even though it risked him being branded a missing nin, but still leaving alone is not the wisest thing to do." Naruto might be strong, but he cannot take on S-rank criminals on his own, Kakashi said, believing that it was suicide for Naruto to leave the village without someone like Jiraiya protecting him. He seems to be rather smarter than Sasuke. Therefore, I have a feeling that there is a place he went that he knows, and we do not, so that he could train while also hiding. Given how informed and secretive he is, it should not be surprising if he did something like, Tsunade said, not knowing how right she was. Still, leaving on his own was not the wisest thing to do. I agree with you on that. Nevertheless, right now we can only hope that Jiraiya finds him before the Akatsuki does, Tsunade said. As far as the council knows, Naruto is on a 3-year training trip with Jiraiya. I would like to keep it that way, understood Hokage-sama. Kakashi knew that if the council got a wind of the fact that Naruto left the village alone, they would try to punish him or even brand him as a missing nin. You are to be gone by tomorrow morning. Jiraiya will visit you occasionally to see your progress, so let us know of where you go. You will also receive an S-rank pay each month to take care of yours and Sasuke's expenses, Tsunade said, going back to Kakashi's training trip with Sasuke. Kakashi, before you go, I want you to search for anything you can find on Naruto's whereabouts while on your training trip. Do it discreetly. Hi, good, you are dismissed, Tsunade said, dismissing the jounin. Kakashi left in a puff of smoke. He was going to the memorial stone to say goodbye to Rin, Obito, and Minato-sensei before he went to tell Sasuke to get ready. Tsunade went back to her paperwork. She had a lot of it to sign and approve. A few days later, Naruto's hideout. Naruto stared at the collection of Sharingan eyes that Madara had collected over the years. There were hundreds of Sharingan eyes stored safely. Naruto wondered what Madara wanted to do with so many eyes. Well, he could have just been keeping them safe from non-Uchihas who would try to get their hands on the powerful Jujutsu. Even though a non-Uchiha could not use the Jujutsu's full abilities, it was still a powerful tool, even the hands of a non-Uchiha. Kakashi had become famous with his use of the Sharingan. Despite not having Uchiha blood, he used it efficiently. If Madara stored this many eyes, he must have also preserved his original eyes. The eyes he wielded before he took his brothers to gain the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Naruto spoke as Zetsu appeared from the shadows of the dark room. Yes, he did. Do you want them? Zetsu asked. Yes, I need to gain the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Madara's other eyes are with Nagato. I can't take them to gain the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan given my current level of power, and I also want to awaken my own Rinnegan. Taking Nagato's eyes would complicate things, Naruto said. I will go and get them. I know where he hid them, Zetsu said before he disappeared. An hour later, Zetsu came back with the pair of eyes. Naruto led Zetsu to a room mainly used to experiment. Implant them on me, Naruto ordered, and lay on the bed. Zetsu did as told and implanted the eyes. He took Naruto's eyes and stored them elsewhere. 3 days later, Naruto stood at his training ground with Zetsu watching. He had been testing the power of the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Naruto had, though, that there was no difference between the MS and the EMS. He thought that the difference was that with the EMS, one did not suffer from blindness. However, he was wrong. The EMS had more power than the MS. Naruto turned around and looked at Zetsu. Zetsu, I want you to do something for me while I train, Naruto said. I want you to search the elemental nations. Do not leave a stone untouched. Try to find if there is another Uzumaki beside me and Nagato that is alive. Zetsu did not bother to ask why. He just nodded and disappeared to begging with his search. Naruto examined his hands before holding a ram seal. It's time for me to use the unique ability of the Kage Bunshin to fast-track my training, Naruto said to himself.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.